Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. The Tennessee legislature is, well, technically they've already started in session, but right now they're on a break. Not much happened except just getting organized. So the best is yet to come. And as our custom every year, we invite Representative Judd Matheny on to tell us what's coming up. And then somewhere later in the session, we'll come back and find out what actually happened. So, Judd, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Tom. Glad to be here.
You took your glasses off.
Yeah, I took them off. But sometimes I need them, sometimes I don't. But I'm getting a little older, so I'm wearing glasses now.
I'm familiar with that problem, yeah. Okay. Well, you got your running shoes on. What's the hot button issue, you think?
Well, it's obviously going to be gas tax. The gas tax increase and trying to sell that to the legislature and the citizens of Tennessee. So we'll get into that. But let me start, Tom, very quickly. I know our time's limited on open comments, by letting the viewers know how fortunate you are to be a Tennessean. We are at the tip of the spear economically in this country. You as a citizen of Tennessee have less capita per debt than any state in the nation. You have more surplus, budget surplus, on hand than any state in the nation.
That's phenomenal.
Right now, the state of Tennessee has overcollected $337 for every man, woman, and child in the state of Tennessee this past year. We're sitting on huge budget surpluses, well over $2 billion just for this year alone. We're the greatest state in the union to create a business in 2 years in a row. We're the greatest state in the union to retire in now for 3 years in a row. Our geographic location sets us second to none for transportation, logistics, and manufacturing. So be proud to be a Tennessean.
Yeah, okay. Well, with that, folks, let's take a short commercial break, and we'll come back and get into business.
All I have to do is think about what I was physically before and what I am now, and I don't ever want to go back to that original situation.
The overall mission of the rehab team is always what is best for the patient and how we can facilitate maximum potential from every resident.
Well, the most important thing to me is that I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do,
Everyday Miracles, Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Tired of paying for monthly telephone service, expensive long-distance bills, and all those crazy taxes? Are you sick of spending money on telephone equipment, maintenance contracts, and service calls, all for a phone system that shackles you to 100-year-old technology and your desk? Stop it. It's time to ship your phone system to the cloud. What can the cloud do for you? Bring together remote offices, workers, and employees in the field. Make sure that you'll never miss calls by delivering them to multiple devices. Modernize faxing by allowing multiple faxes to be sent and received at once, and deliver to email. Get your voicemail messages instantly through email too. And take advantage of an endless supply of customizable features. Host My Calls can deliver the cloud. All of this technology with low upfront costs and not one penny in capital expense. It's time for a phone solution you'll truly love from Host My Calls. Call the number below.
We're back, folks, and our guest today is Representative Judd Matheny, and we're just at the threshold of a new legislative start, so we want to find out what to look forward to. Well, Judd, as I say, let's get first things first out of the way. Philip Fulmer is the athletic director for UT.
That's right, and there's some major players right here in Tullahoma that were instrumental in doing that. And it's been in the works for a long time, and he was a long shot. He was a dark horse for that position at first.
It's been growing, though.
Yes, yeah. But Phil Fulmer doesn't need it; he wants it, but we need him to be in there. I think the UT program needs the type of enthusiasm and confidence that he can bring to it. He demands respect and respects people. He's a natural motivator, a natural leader. Anybody from any socioeconomic class can relate to Philip Fulmer. And I think it's just a terrific idea for the state of Tennessee, and all of my colleagues
Well, so
that I speak to are pleased.
There you have it, folks. First priority, and that seems to be building. That really
President
seems to
of Tennessee has been proclaimed.
Yeah. Okay, and while we're talking about leaders, you got a new speaker / lieutenant governor.
Lieutenant governor in the Senate. Of course, we have the same Speaker of the House, Beth Harwell, but the state Senate, whom my colleague Janice Bowling serves under, picked Randy McNally from Oak Ridge to be their speaker, and Randy's been the budget chairman for about 12 years and knows the intricacies of the budget, which is very important to be an effective legislator.
Yeah.
It took me about 8 years to really learn them, but it's very important. He's a wonderful leader. He's a strong conservative, and he is consistent. And he is. You can rely on him when he makes a decision, but that decision's not going to change when you're in the field of fire trying to implement
Predictable,
it. It is. And before we go too far, Tom, I know time flies fast, but I want to let everybody know kind of what happened the last week and what session does. We had our organizational week last week and elected the Speaker of the House and the Speaker of the Senate. We're appointed to committees. I sit on the Agriculture Committee and the Insurance and Banking Commission Committee. Both of which I enjoy, and I've served both of them in the past. And normally during this time of year we have a 2-week recess, which really it's not a recess because I do things like this, speak with you and speak with other groups many times a day, all day long. But normally we get new office assignments and we move around, but this year we're staying put, all of us, because in November we moved to the Cordell Hall building. And the legislature, all of you folks that have always been to the War Memorial building in the War Memorial Plaza, we will now be in the Cordell Hall building. And of course, when you come up,
which you saved from the wrecking ball.
And you know what? Myself and 4 others saved it from the wrecking ball 5 years ago. And we took a lot of heat from it from the governor. And then he decided he wanted to rebuild it. So that's something I'm kind of proud of because it was on the budget cut to save $40 million on its rehabilitation. But we thought the historical significance of it was very important, and where it sits on the campus of the Capitol and how it sits needed to be maintained and preserved.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to have played a part of that.
Yeah, well, good. Yeah, I think that was a good move.
Plus, Cordell Hull was a great Tennessean and a great American.
Right.
And deserves that honor.
Right. Yeah. Our foreign secretary for
absolutely
many years.
He was.
Well, what's at the top of the agenda?
It's going to be the gas tax. Is going to be the number one thing. Behind, of course, a balanced budget is the number one responsibility of the state of Tennessee. Per our Constitution, it is our number one. It is our mandated entity. So balancing the budget, and within that is going to be a gas tax.
We're gonna have a lot of to and fro on how to do this, but the bottom line is, we're going to wind up funding the transportation infrastructure.
One way or another, we will.
All right.
Whether we do it with a new gas tax or whether we do it with new revenues that we already have. And let me explain that very quickly. When I talked about you as a Tennessean being at the tip of the spear economically, this is why. Our individual department reserves are strong. That means your E911 department, your Department of Children's Services, your probably everybody but the Department of Transportation has all the money they need. We have about $1 billion in current reserves. That's in our rainy day fund. We're required to have a certain percentage of our state portion of our budget in cash, which is about 5%, and we have that. On hand, we have about 7% actually. We have 10 care reserves that are strong, and departmental reserves are strong. This year alone, due to the business and economic climate in Tennessee, we have over $1 billion in new one-time money. That means we can't promise it's going to be there next year, but we have it this year. Most of that, and you didn't ask me this yet, but I'll tell you, most of that is going to go to education infrastructure, pay raises for state employees, or some of it will go to bonuses for state employees. But you're going to see a lot of money going to infrastructure for higher education. Tennessee colleges of applied technologies working to increase our workforce. The number one thing that we have as a detriment to our continued economic growth is a qualified workforce being developed to fill those shoes. And that's not only people, but that's also robotics and merging the two together and different technologies. And we're going to hit that hard. We also, I think, will hit the opioid problem hard. opioid and benzodiazepines and the prescription drug problem that we have in Tennessee. We're going to hit that hard with that money, much like we did with methamphetamines 10 years ago. We'll never stop it, but we're going to try to contain the wildfire.
While you're arguing about that, you're going to be arguing about marijuana for medical purposes too.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere though, but it's
Yeah.
going to come up, but it's not happening.
It was discussed in terms of being able to help the opioid, which is a major problem in
It is a
Tennessee.
major problem. It is a major problem. But that leaves us another $1.1 billion in new recurring revenue that we have this year in this $2+ billion budget. That means that it'll be there next year, next year, next year. And projections all show that we're going to have the same amount, if not more, next year. There's so many businesses, as many businesses as we have, new ones that have come to Tennessee. There's so many that hovered until the presidential election, and as soon as the new president was elected, man, they came in, boom, boom, boom. So once they get up and running in 1, 2, 3, 5 years, it's going to be an enormous amount of new capital coming into the state of Tennessee. So we have $1.1 billion in new money that is recurring, and myself and many of my conservative colleagues say a gas tax is not a prudent move at this point, not only politically but also economically. And I'll just touch on this politically. But the governor has a habit of using his initiatives that he asked people to help pass against the very people next election time. He worked against 9 people 4 years ago that helped him pass his initiatives. And he worked against 2 people, including myself, 2 years ago that helped him pass initiatives. And he used the initiatives that we helped him to pass to try to beat us. So why would we want to help him pass a gas tax? And why would I want to ask my constituents, and I'm looking right at the camera, why would I want to ask you for another $200 to $400 to $700 million when we have $2.1 billion in surplus? Why would I want to do that? Also, and I'm not saying that I'm not sensitive to our transportation needs. I absolutely am. But budgets reflect priorities. If you have a budget in your home, if you have a budget in your business, it reflects the priorities of your budget. Our budget should reflect our priorities too, and transportation is a priority. Our transportation infrastructure is the reason we're successful. So why not take money that we know is going to be here consistently and long term and dive that into transportation instead of asking for new money on top of that? Let me tell you what the new money is going to do.
Well, I do think that that the money going into the transportation should be ongoing. Shouldn't be a budget issue every year.
Amen. And we have $1.1 billion in new recurring money. Why not put a large percentage of that into transportation instead of asking our citizens for more money when I just told you we over-collected $337 for every man, woman, and child in this state, from infant to the oldest person we have? And then why ask for more money on top of that? That's not a savvy thing to do from a business standpoint, from a political standpoint. So, 7-cent increase in the gas tax, which the governor's asked for, to be indexed to inflation. Now, the wholesalers and the convenience store operators, gas station operators in this state, the number one thing they asked me for a year ago when a gas tax was being considered is, we'll support it as long as it's not indexed. So now it's been indexed for inflation. So the 21.4 cents that you pay now as a state citizen is going to go up to almost 30 cents, and then it's going to be indexed for inflation, which means it could go up 3 cents, it could go up 5 cents a year, depending on what it needs to do. Your diesel fuel is going up 12 cents a gallon. I just left a transportation company this morning that hauls your garbage. It will increase the cost of your garbage a minimum of $1 a ton. The only way to offset that is a property tax locally. So that we have to look at everything that's going on here. And if we're a conservative state and we want to live within our means and we have plenty of money already to fund our means, we need to look at option 1 now. Now the governor's saying he's going to offset taxes with whole income tax reduction and with a reduction in your food tax. People, I helped pass the whole income tax repeal 2 years ago. It's a separate entity. It's not related to the fuel tax. It was a cut in your taxes that he's reaching back to try to grab. And your cut on your food tax, 0.5%. It's paltry, and it's not indexed for inflation. So when inflation goes up, your cut on your food tax is not going to go up. So there's a lot of things, Tom, that have to be considered before we ever even think about a yes on a gas tax.
Are you one way or the other in favor of reducing the tax on food?
Sure I am.
Good.
And once again, we have the revenue to be able to do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like there's going to be a pretty sporting session this year, folks. So with that, let's take a short commercial break, and we'll come back and go some more.
trucks and more trucks. Keith Barnett here with the Russell Barnett Automotive family, and we have your next truck. From the Ford F-Series, the Ram, Chevrolet, or the GMC, then look no further than the Russell Barnett family. With over 350 new and pre-owned trucks to choose from, now is the time to buy. Stop by one of our 5 locations. That's Russell Barnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Chevrolet GMC, Ford of Winchester, and Russell Barnett Ford and Kia of Tullahoma, or visit us on the web at russellbarnett.com. Why buy anywhere else?
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
It's your trademark. That's something special everyone knows and remembers. It's your thing. It's made holidays special for decades and summers unforgettable for the entire neighborhood. It's made everyone laugh every single time. Don't let illness or injury keep you from doing your thing. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today with Representative Judd Matheny, and he's part of getting a new legislative session underway. So we've beat up the gas tax. What's the next victim?
Well, you tell me. There's a lot of different. I can tell you about something Judd's doing along with Senator Bowling. We've got a bill that the medical community, I hope, will appreciate this. Many of them that will streamline the process that doctors, nurses, nursing companies, assisted living facilities all go through with health managed organizations, HMOs, and managed care organizations, MCOs. They're basically the groups that take the blocks of federal money and disperse them based on the services given. That's the short version of it. Well, these are huge bureaucracies, and like any bureaucracy, they tend to be immobile in some areas at some times. Well, we have providers of health care services that are not being reimbursed timely or properly, and they have very little recourse in order to be able to seek their money due to the fact that they don't have the time and the energy.
Who is that?
Doctors, nurses, nursing facilities, nursing home facilities, acute care nurses, anybody that turns in services to the managed care organizations, which is probably 90% of our medical community, or 95%. I'll give you a good example. We've got a company right here in Manchester that is owed $5 million for over 4 years. And when we did a review of their claims, 99% of them were payable. And we've gotten most of those monies paid back, but there's still not some. But had I not gotten involved, and had the situation not become so acute they might close their doors, I would have never known these things. And the bottom line is, they send in a claim every 22 days or so to be reimbursed for the services that they provide. They may have a nurse that stays with a young man 24 hours a day, 7 days a week because he's on a ventilator, and he'll die immediately if he comes off of it. And he's fed through a tube, so this person has to have somebody with them all the time. Well, because one claim had either something duplicate in it or something omitted, they reject all the other claims because that one was wrong. So what I want to try to do is segregate those claims to make each one an individual action. So you can't hold up a year or 2 years worth of payments because 1 month had an error in it. Let's go back to that 1 month and segregate it and fix it. And if there's another problem subsequently, we'll deal with those. But let's break that log jam up. It's called the Provider's Bill of Rights. It simply puts a process in place for a provider of medical services to be able to get a timely resolution to a problem that they have.
To get their money.
But this is going to be a big. This is going to be a big issue because the big bureaucracies don't want to lose this power. So I appreciate Senator Bowling carrying that with me. She's been great. We both have become educated as we move forward.
Well, speaking of Senator Bowling, she's always got to stir the social pot a little bit. What about the new bill redefining father, mother, husband, wife in biological terms, whatever that means?
Well, number one, I'll say that I'm not real familiar with the bill other than the headline. I will say that Senator Bowling is a very close ally, and we agree on 99.9% of the things by default. So I'm going to say by default, this is going to be a bill I'm going to support with her as I learn more about it. What little I know about it, it takes away much of the political and what I call nanny state innuendos about sexuality and who somebody is and what they are and what bathroom they use and where they came from, and it just simply defines. That's what I'm going to guess it is, and if it's anywhere close to that, I'm going to support it.
Okay. Well, it's defining father, mother, wife, husband, and of course the gay community, the LGBT community, says that's going to be a direct hit on them.
If you're a man, you're a man. If you're a woman, you're a woman. If you're a young boy, you're a young boy. If you're a young female, you're a young female. If you have two X chromosomes or if you have an XY chromosome, it's pretty dadgum simple. And we need to get back to that and start worrying about other things.
Okay. Well, this is going to be a little constitutional issue crop up there. So it might be interesting for you to go to the Attorney General and ask him whether that bill is going to stand up or not, if it goes. Okay. We've talked a little bit about this humongous budget surplus you got. How about education? How's it going to fare this year?
Now, talking about what's coming. We talked about what we just did the first week of session, where we are. January 30th, the governor's going to give us his State of the State address. Shortly after that, he'll present us with a budget. The legislature's job is to not only initiate legislative initiatives, but it's also to approve the budget. So we're not going to know a whole lot more then, but I'm confident from conversations I've had with leadership and with governor's office that education is going to fare very well in this budget. Not only hopefully for teacher raises, recurring raises, but also some opportunities for some major bonuses and educational improvement money to allow folks to go get their masters and their PhDs. Professional development, that one-time money is great for that. It's great for classroom infrastructure, technology infrastructure. I think we'll see higher education, especially due to the advent of the Tennessee Promise continuing to grow. You'll see higher education get some major capital improvements. I think you'll see some major buildings be renovated or be built that need to be built. I think it's going to be a great year for education.
Let's talk specifically about the technical colleges.
What we call the TCATs now, Tennessee College of Applied Technology.
Right.
And we're trying to expand the number of those. We had, when I first became...
You're going to fund some new ones?
Yes, sir. And we hope to get one in Coffee County. We have a group that, in fact, we meet tomorrow again. We have a group that we basically have all the innards of the building ready to go, the new robotics labs, the new curriculums, and we've got to find $500,000 for a shell of a building, but we'll have our own TCAT here. We went from having 26 statewide 15 years ago to now we're trying to put them truly regional. Ideally, we would probably want about 70 in this state. For instance,
70.
70. Well, you've got all these regional economies. You have all these, you have businesses that need a local education entity to be able to train them specifically to help them out. And that's what this will do. Nissan has one now. I'd like to see one that feeds our industrial park, and our high schoolers can begin co-opting through it. And they can learn not just how to do hands-on tasks, but they learn how to integrate robotics and engineering and programming and troubleshooting, as well as good people skills. And that's what a TCAT would do.
The big issue is that the industrial world and commercial, broader sense, is getting more and more technical.
It is.
Their qualifications of their employees are getting more and more technical.
We're seeing
we haven't been doing a good job at that.
Yes, sir. And we're seeing major dynamic changes happening rapidly. We're seeing larger capital projects for businesses, but they're less personnel requirements.
Right.
And so we're going to have a problem if we don't address it of core people within our population not having the basic skills to go into manufacturing in the future. So we have to get out in front of that, and that's what I think we'll take a big swing at that. And also
good.
state employees. You didn't ask about that, but also in this same budget, I think you'll see state employees see a raise and see some incentive pay for good performance and some better working conditions for state employees.
Well, we don't have time to talk about them, but what do you think are a couple more items that are going to come up next?
Man, these are the main ones. We're going to, other than balancing the budget, we may see some TWRA issues coming up that we have to talk about. None of any real significance, but I'm very involved in those, and being on the Agriculture Committee that I'll be working on. But there's going to be issues that come up, Tom, that maybe if you'll have me back in March, once all the legislation's filed and the budget's set forward, we'll have a better idea.
Okay, with that, folks, we flat run out of time. So let's take a short commercial break and we'll wrap up.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We've been talking today with Representative Judd Matheny, folks, who's given us the 2 or 3 hot button issues coming up in the legislature. So, Judd, we thank you for being with us. And what's your word? You got a...
Well, number one, we were just talking off the air. I want to thank you for 20 years of doing this. It's been a great public information piece and giving folks like me the platform to connect with viewers. And so I appreciate that. And I want to encourage folks to be involved in their government, or it will get involved in you. Now, the Tennessee's website is the best in the nation, the most user-friendly. Go to tennessee.gov. You can find out every piece of legislation that's being filed, every amendment that goes with it. Everything that's heard or talked about in any committee system is published online 7 days in advance in written form. So you have the capability as a citizen to keep up if you choose to. And talk to your legislator, visit with us at Legislative Plaza. This is a wonderful state. I know sometimes I talk about the bad things or seem to talk about the bad things, but my job is to fix those. For every negative thing that we even talk about up here ever or imply, there's 1,000 good things in your state. Be proud of Tennessee. Be proud of your nation. And Tom, I think the world and opportunity is ours to lose right now, nationally and from a statewide level.
Yeah. That's true. We are in uncommonly good position in the country.
We are.
So again, Judd, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you.
And we will be seeing you again in a month or two. And thank you, folks, for inviting us into your parlor, and we will see you next time.